So, for those who just joined us, hi, I'm Sean St. Cyr. I'm Ashley St. Cyr's husband. She got held on duty today and is on a call right now, so she's off driving her fire engine someplace in Daly City. So she has asked me to take over, and myself and Michael will handle going through this. We're going to sort of save questions towards the end if we do have any. And I'm going to sort of jump into this. So today we're going to go over fire extinguishers, the pass it on method. There's a quick little video for that. Common holiday fire traps, Edith drills in the home, electric car charging tips, pets, everybody's favorite, a seasonal chimney. I've got a great first-hand experience story with that. Traveling safer during the fire season, and yard maintenance tips to keep your home safe in the exterior. So let's talk about extinguishers really quick. The types that you're going to find out there, the systems that you want to make sure you look for when you're looking at the type of extinguishers and what they're going to be used on. Dry powder extinguishers, the A, B, C designation that we usually find on extinguishers is what you're going to find in most of your Home Depot kind of, 30-second extinguishers. You can use those on everything from wood, flammable liquids, and gas-based fires, and technically on electrical equipment. And you can pretty much get away with trying to use this on almost any types of fires out there, using the pass method, which is a low-based, press of the base of the fire and sweep back and forth. Hose reel. Now, this would my wife would have been having a great time talking about what excessive volumes of water would do to a wood or textile fire. But that you don't use on anything along the lines of flammable liquids, so don't put water on a grease fire kind of situation, or on a metal fire, which would be, your magnesium-based fires. That just causes it to expand and conflagrate more so. And of course, we don't use water on electrical-based fires. So you've got electrical stove, you're not going to throw a hose line onto that fun electrical stove in your home. Your foam-based aqueous firefighting foam, AFFF foam fire extinguishers, not as common, but still out there. They're your A and B types, so your flammable liquids and wood-based fires or textile-based fires. They don't work well on electrical equipment, and they will not work on metal-based fires. They'll just simply burn through. Again, water, we've already talked about. That goes back to the fire hose reel. Only good for your type A extinguishers. Don't use electrical, flammable liquids, and or metals. And your CO2, that one has a more specific use towards the electrical equipment side and flammable liquids, but does not work on your wood and wood-based fires. They are really a specific B-type fires, so you're going to find those in your garage kind of settings, not a home-based, house-type extinguisher. Most of these, like I said, can be found at your typical Home Depot fire extinguisher purchase type situations. Let's go ahead and hop into this pass method. This is a great little video that Ashley found that we're just going to go ahead and play through. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Britt Keltner, one of the corporate trainers here at Corson Fire and Security. Today we're going to talk about the acronym PASS, the proper way to use a fire extinguisher. The acronym PASS stands for pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. First thing you have to do is remove your pull pin. Just rotate it forward, pop your seal off. You're going to pull your pin completely out. You're going to aim the nozzle of the fire extinguisher at the base of the fire. You're going to squeeze the handle and sweep back and forth. You start about 10 to 12 feet away from the fire. As the fire dies down, you're going to move a little bit forward. Now that you've learned the PASS method, we're going to put it into action. First thing to do, remove your pull seal. Pull your pin, grab your nozzle. You're going to aim at the base of the fire, sweep back and forth until your fire is extinguished.
Okay, Trey. And then I'm going to do these. Thank you.
We just had a bunch of folks jump in.
When he's ready for release. Okay, do you have any idea how long that will be?
It could be potentially up to a week or two.
I'm going to try to mute everybody real quick. There we go. All right. So Pass method, everyone should have had an opportunity if they're going through search training to have gone and done that with a water-based extinguisher, water pressure-based extinguisher at the training. If anybody ever pulled out a CO2, if you do have the opportunity to figure out which way you're standing in the way of the wind, having that blow back at you, or a type ABC extinguisher, having it blow back at you is always fun, but it's not hazardous to your health when you're putting out that fire. The fire is far more hazardous in that case. Oh, hey, nope, there we go. There we go. Okay. Not sure if I have the right type of extinguisher. No go. Basically, don't grab and just simply throw an extinguisher at the fire. You can cause more harm than good. Sometimes I've seen this. I've actually had these donated to various operations I've been a part of. We've had extinguishers given to us, and when you start looking at what types they are, there are some pretty hefty duty industrial type extinguishers out there that actually can be hazardous to the occupants of an area if you are not sure what you're doing. Some type of extinguishers purposely pull out oxygen out of the room. Those are really great when you have a car fire and you're going to jam the nozzle underneath the hood and try to extinguish it by removing oxygen from that area. But when you're in a room, throwing an extinguisher in and turning it on and spraying the room down, and you've got people you're trying to get to, could cause more harm than good. So don't just grab an extinguisher and start attacking a fire unless you are certain that the one that you have in your hand is capable of handling the fire you've got. For example, if you go after that grease fire in your stove and you have a water-based extinguisher, you've just made the situation exponentially worse. Those that aren't aware of what that does, take a look at water on a grease fire on YouTube, and you can see very quickly how that can turn into a far worse situation. How to put the fire between myself and the escape route? No go. Again, if you have to go get the extinguisher and the fire, you put the fire between you and where you're going to leave, you've put yourself in a far worse situation. Of course, one of those things that we have to be cognizant of is, do we become part of the problem rather than the solution? So trying to make sure you know where the extinguishers are, where you're going to be moving to get the extinguisher, and what situation you're putting yourself in is always important. Be cognizant, be aware of your environment before you rush into the situation as well. What is it? Oops, I clicked too far. Bigger than a kitchen trash can fire? No go. So, yeah, if you found yourself trying to put out a fire that's basically is larger than your, about a 5-gallon kitchen can, trash can, you've probably found yourself in the wrong spot. Those extinguishers have a discharge time, 15-30 seconds. That goes by incredibly fast. And if you're looking at a fire that's engulfed part of your countertops or your cabinetry, and you're thinking your 15-second fire extinguisher or 30-second fire extinguisher is going to have enough oomph to put that out, you're probably wrong and putting yourself in a dangerous situation. If it's larger than a trash can, even the one that we just saw the gentleman use for the demonstration, that's a bit bigger than that trash can size, though be it the fire was able to be extinguished. You're not aware of where it's climbed into or grown inside the cabinetry in your kitchen or your house and the walls. You've probably exceeded your capability of fighting it, and you just need to be at a point where you're exiting the home or structure that you're in and you're trying to save. So be aware of that. Look at your environment, look at what you're fighting up against, and look at what you're trying to take on. Everyone, again, putting yourself in a position where you're observing the environment, you're deciding what actions to take. First things first, obviously, if you're in the home and you need to let everyone know that there is a fire, get everyone out first. Don't go try to fight the fire while not getting everyone up or letting people know in the office or whatever situations you find yourself in, making as much noise as possible, yelling fire, banging on doors, being as loud as possible, alerting everyone, obviously super important. If you are capable of doing so, call 911. If not, assign someone to do so. Obviously, that is one of those management situations that we can tell somebody, hey, I've got the extinguisher, please call 911. Make the choice, fight the fire or don't. What is our criteria? If it's bigger than a trash can, you probably have exceeded the capability of the fire extinguisher you have. Don't fight the fire. Or if you think you can, fight the fire. Go for it. But I would, again, caution against that. I would look at its growth, look at what you've got to manage and what you have in your hand for the extinguisher. Finally, exit to a safe place. And make sure you've got an account of all the people that you need to have with you that were supposed to come out, so you can alert first responders when they show up. Um, Here we go. Oh, these are the exciting ones. So common holiday fire traps. In what about 2 months, we're all going to start going after our turkeys. And if you are a deep fryer type person, what is the one thing you don't do is don't put the frozen turkey into the very boiling oil and it has a flame base or a heat base underneath it because, well, let's just watch the video.
Here we go.
So what we want to do now is show you what happens when you do the wrong thing.
Okay, so I actually wanted to jump to a section in here real quick, right about here. So it is shocking how many people will burn down their home this coming year with deep fryer like this. But I wanted to note here, this section of the video, we see this fire currently underway, and the fire department then throws water on it, or their foam-based water. And going back to our extinguishers just for a second, this is a great example. Watch what happens when water and foam, in this case, is introduced to a grease fire. Watch the spread of flames here. As they hit the fire here, okay, you see how much that expanded. Just as an example of what happens when you introduce water. Now, in the sense of a fire department hitting it with a fire hose, the volume of water will change the way that fire is fought. But in our case, when we're fighting a fire at home or we're trying to put out that grease fire, that is a disastrous situation. Henceforth, making sure you know what kind of extinguisher you have and what type of situation you're trying to go into there. All right, so the deep fryer, grease fire is always a fun one. I just got a pro tip from Mr. Groden here. Put turkey in pot with water mark level, empty, dry, and then fill with oil. That way the oil does not spill out when inserting the bird. Exactly. Thank you for going into that too. Doing a little pre-planning goes a long way. I think I've seen one or two situations Ash has told me about where some of their demonstrations they do is showing how high the flame can get. If you've overfilled that oil or if you let it boil out, you can catch the trees on above you on fire. You don't even realize what you're doing there. So be cognizant of it, be aware of it, be cautious about how you're doing that.
Here we go.
And it did it again. It starts up when I hit the button. All right, outdoors only. Do not overfill. Keep temperature below 350 as they stated in the video. No frozen birds. I see chats popping in. Give yes, exactly. Give a thaw for each 4 to 5 pounds. 1 day a thaw for each 4 to 5 pounds of turkey. Absolutely the case. No frozen birds. Bring pot to temperature. Turn off the flame base, and then slowly submerge the turkey. And then again, what extinguisher do you have on hand to put this out? In this case, a Type B extinguisher. The dry Christmas tree, and this is probably, as a non-firefighter person myself, the most terrifying thing in my mind, because we have live trees in our home every year. So let's go ahead and just watch this. I'm going to hit this button this time because it'll start for me. Hey, there we go. All right, so you saw in under 60 seconds the spread of that fire and what it's capable of going off of an electrical short coming from it, or from an overheated bulb that simply ignites a point on the tree. Something that Ashley does as a former Cal Fire firefighter, she has a great technique where she literally just grabs the branch, slides her hand, in a safe direction so you're not getting poked by the needles, but pulling it towards you, and watch how many needles come off. Are they dry? Are they brittle? Monitor the health of the tree, shake it, drag your hand across there, pull a handful of needles off. Is it coming off, and are they just crumbling in your hand, or are they still pliable and soft? Keep away from heaters, fireplaces, hot air vents, and candles. Obviously, we're well past the 19th century. We don't need to have candles on our Christmas tree, but also the ones that are sitting around it. And then, of course, overloading the outlet. Don't daisy chain your power strips to the tree. That does not create a safe setup for the electrical that's on there. Don't overload the number of lights on a string. There are limits. Check the strings that you're using as to how many strings that you can string together before you start to exceed a safe limit. And, again, check to make sure. Here's a fun one. A lot of power strips that you might use, their surge protection capability and what point they're going to snap and break the surge or the short can fail over time. You've got a surge protector that's maybe a decade old. They might not be functioning anymore. It might not break if there is an excessive amount of current draw, which can come from a short. So do check those. They just basically, the electrical current will wear them out over time. Something I recently learned, and it comes to electronics too. You burn out your electronics that way, but more so we're talking since on the tree side. Do check how long you've had that thing underneath the tree. Is it a 10-year, 20-year-old surge protector that you bought to give you an extra 6 outlets? It might be past its safe, usable time. All right, moving along. Oh. Of course, Ashley had to put in a Christmas story, and here it is. 16,000 plugs on 2 sockets with no surge protector whatsoever, and the lamp.
Let's see. Oh, jeez, God.
Honey?
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Let's see. This goes to the radio. This goes to this goes. Well, it's just one too many.
It's about 16 too many. You can buy those outlets where you can plug in an extra 3 or 4 cords, and then on top of that, each one of those Christmas tree light cords have another back end plug that you can extend it off of that, and you extend it off of that, and that is a problem. Those even your GFCI outlets that are supposed to surge and break under the right load, you still can put too many plugs into one. So be cognizant of that. Be aware of what you're doing there. Per the NFPA, candle fires peak in December and January. Oh boy, lots of candles burning during the Christmas time frame. They smell wonderful. They're great to have out, but unattended, that's a problem. 60% of candle fires are due to placing candle too close to combustibles. We have them on a table sitting up against the wall. You have a picture or a piece of art hanging above it. Did the heat start to create a problem on that frame, maybe? Or was there something with paper above it that started to dry to the point of combustion? Between 2014 and 2018, 770 structure fires annually begin with decorations, averaging 2 civilian deaths, 30 injuries, and 11 million in property damage. These are things that we can avoid. Just look at how you've got your home set up for decorations. We have a lot of stuff. Here's a common one. Everyone puts for the fireplaces in California that no one uses anymore, but the mantles are great to put decorations on and candles. What is above that candle? Is it too close to something that's flammable? Is the wall got wallpaper rather than paint? Is the simple candle simply pushed too close to the wall itself and has been drying out or burning a spot on the wall? Take a look at your own home. Determine if these are safety situations that you've put yourself into. Moving right along. Exit drills in the home. Edith. 7 steps of practicing your escape plan. Draw a map of your home, including doors and windows. Be aware of what you can get into. Watching. I'm sorry. I went into something there, and I just tried to decide if I was going to talk about it. You need to look at the home itself and see, are windows accessible and exitable for yourself? Can you get out of them? Are the things blocking the homes or blocking the windows? Are the doors accessible? Can you find multiple ways out of each room? Modern built homes are required to have 2 exitable points, both a window and a door. If you find yourself in a room that does not have that is not a habitable room, first off. Can you get over that table, that desk, to get out? Is it a glass table that you'd have to step on that would probably shatter under your load to try to exit through the window? Be aware of what you have in your home and how it's set up. Choose an outside meeting place in front of your home so you know that everyone gathers at. And it's the easy one. If you have an exterior mailbox, head to the mailbox. If there's a lamppost, everybody goes to the lamppost. Probably don't cross the road when we're panicked and scared and we're being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning by a fire. Telling everyone to meet across the street might not be the best thing. If you live in a cul-de-sac, maybe it's okay, but you don't want to have to tell everybody to go bleary-eyed and slightly panicked to go cross an active street. So be cognizant of where you choose for your gather point. The smoke alarms, push test all of them in the home, and if they verify that they work. California law requires that all homes have both CO and smoke detectors in the home in multiple locations these days. Verify that they're actually functioning. If you've ignored that chirping long enough, the battery has died. Newer ones are 10-year internal batteries, but they will start to tell you when they start to fail. And then finally, start to practice these drills once in a while. We have a 4-year-old in the house, and our 4-year-old is aware that if there's a fire, to where to go, find a door, exit, find the gathering point. These are things that we try to talk about early on, and it's always good as an adult to make sure we go over and review these simple matters. And then, of course, gather to your meeting place. Exit drills in the home. This is the next part. Check doors for heat. Before you open a closed door, come up to it. Don't grab the doorknob. It's metal. Check the door itself. These doors, all doors in the homes have some kind of fire rating to them. Solid doors versus hollow core doors, you're still going to feel the heat through the door. If you can, shut all doors and windows as you exit the home. This creates additional safe areas that will contain the fire. It is astonishing. I have seen pictures of doors closed that have kept fires from going through doors and keeping a room safe if somebody was to be trapped inside of it. Stay low. Get on your hands and knees if you have to, or hunch over as you go to get out of the smoke, which will start to go from the top down. Again, alert occupants if able, make as much noise as possible, alert everybody as possible, and then get to a safe place and call 911. All right, Mikhail, this is yours, correct? On electric cars, I'll let you take off.
I will just cover this really quick. I don't want us to lose time on this, but for EVs, I think the most important thing that we want you all to be aware of is a lot of them have had recalls, and
We're losing you there.
can you hear me?
No, try it again.
Can you all hear me now?
There we go, better.
Okay, sorry. So with EVs, the most important thing to pay attention to is, were there any recall notices? I'm a fan. I have one that has a recall notice, the Chevy Bolt, and the recall gives very clear guidance.
We've lost you again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Nicole, did we lose you entirely?
No, I can hear you.
There you're back again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So recall notices, pay close attention to that. The other really important thing is your charging options. You can have a level 1 charger that comes from the manufacturer and making sure that the outlet that you're using is compatible. And then with the chargers, the other is the level
Michael, we keep on losing your audio there. I can jump in a little bit on this real quick. On your 120 versus 240 level 1 and level 2 chargers, you also need to look at your ampere rating in the home to make sure that you can actually, on the main circuit breaker and the secondary panels, if there are one, to see if you're a 100 amp or 200 amp. For fast chargers, a 200 amp is important. If you're trying to run an extended duration on a 100 amp charger, you can blow the fuse and or possibly cause an electrical problem there. Going further, getting an electrician in the home to make sure that you have the capability of doing so, and make sure they're a licensed and bonded electrician. This is one of those type of jobs. As a realtor, I get the question a lot of, should I bring in somebody to, do my electrical? And I always tell them, hey, on electrical, you want to have a licensed electrician to do this. You're pulling a lot of amps, so make sure that you have a good electrician that's in there. Make sure they're licensed, make sure they're bonded, make sure they're qualified to do the job, because you're pulling amps that can actually cause a lot of harm to yourself, your family, animals, and the home if it's done incorrectly or improperly. Sorry, Michael, I'm sorry, the sound keeps on cutting out on you. I just want to help out there.
Absolutely. Thank you for picking up. And I think you touched on the most important thing. At the end of this deck, when we send this out, you will see there's a link from PG&E. They have very helpful tips on how to install your level 2 charger and how.
Yep. And there goes your audio again. So, but yeah, we'll have it at the end of the deck there. That'll go over those details. And there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. Pet safety. Oh, there's our Khaleesi. That is our Khaleesi-roo. Include them in the plan. Make sure that you remember your pets in the home as you're trying to exit. I know cats have a tendency to run and hide rather than try to stay with the family, but do try to be aware of where they're at. Sometimes they can escape on their own, during the chaos and confusion of exiting the home. If they're out and they're running scared, all the noise, the fire trucks, people running around, they might take off. Having them chipped is an important deal to finding them later on. Having a leash available at the exit or a carrier. Watching. So our dog is a 75-pound Malinois that has a tail that loves to smack everything about knee to thigh high. Are candles too low? Could she knock one over? Could she hit something that's on the stove if she were to jump up? And hopefully she doesn't. But if it's left on when we're not in the home, these are things, again, that we try to make sure and it's safe to do for yourself. Is what is your animal going to do when you're not at home? Did you leave something running? Did you leave a candle on that they could possibly knock over, the stove on, etc.? Neat little sticker pack to throw into the stuff that might identify folks that you've got animals in the home. Chimneys. All right. So chimney. Yes, it will be possible to answer your question, Ranjana. Yes, we will have access to the slides after the presentation. So here's my anecdotal story about chimneys. Ashley and I lived in a 3-bedroom house over here off of San Tomas a couple years ago. I guess it was like 7 years ago. And we decided to have a fire in the fireplace one day. Didn't think anything of it. And we were renters, right? What we hadn't done, and we didn't verify with the owner, nor did we verify that with ourselves, which it's very important to do so, that the fireplace was usable. When we went to go run it. We had a great time. It was wonderful, but we nearly burned down the house. The reason why, the previous homeowner or renter had the dish cable brought down through the fireplace and into the home. This created what was called a fuse. As we ran the fire heated up the cable, which then ran up the chimney out onto the roof. We got lucky, and the cable itself did not burn past the concrete of the chimney. But as we were having the chimney worked on, the inspector told us that we were probably an hour or so of having that fire running away from burning down the house, starting on the roof itself and then coming through. So that was a scary moment. So do always check. I got 10 minutes, I'm being told. So we do want to watch that closely. We're talking about if you can't monitor the fire in your fireplace anymore, spread out the embers, put ash over the embers to smother, apply baking soda to knock down the fire itself, and let the ashes cool off before you pull them out. And then traveling during fire season, before you leave, unplug all non-vital appliances, lower the thermostat as low as possible, set vacation mode for water heaters, check the sump pump, and have a neighbor or friend check on the home. We all go out, we all have neighbors, have them come by and take a look once in a while. You know, it's not a bad thing for them to just do a quick inspection. And then your up-to-date smoke and fire information. You know, we want to know where the bad stuff's at. You know, obviously this was taken during the major fire up towards Tahoe. You know, that smoke gets pretty gnarly. We all don't want to be sucking it down. Again, these links will be available when we do when we send these out. Now, AQI Index, some great apps out there that you can download. I would recommend getting one. It's always nice to have to look at. Again, when you're traveling into areas, do you know what your escape routes on road are? If you're up in Tahoe, did you know how many roads are able to leave Tahoe? What's the type of evacuation plans in place? Do a little homework in advance. And then over here, we still got more to go. Okay, lawnmowers and dry vegetation sparks wildfires. Lawnmower exhaust is around 240 degrees. Mower blades striking rocks or stones, throw sparks. They themselves can catch fire if they're hot and stuffed into a shed. And don't mow the lawns during fire season. It's, if there's red flag watches and you live in the hills, probably not the best time to go out and take a weed whacker or mower out, as it probably, can create a potential fire situation. All right, that was the end of the slides, just so we don't run out of time here. We will make sure that those are on the presentation. If they have if they would like to see the slides, we'll make sure to send those out. And I think that's about it. Give me just a second.